Okay. Well, it's time to get back to work. So we got a big week ahead of us, playing a good Virginia team. That's 4-1, 2-0 in the conference. Good quarterback play, been solid on defense, balanced on offense. I think last year at home, we had to score 2 late touchdowns to pull out a victory when they were in control of the game for the most part until then. So we've got to, of course, get better first as a team and improve on a lot of things that have not gone our way, and make sure we get that done first, and then go out there and compete hard on the road, which will be a good test for us.
Jeff, as far as your team, what's your biggest priority, or one or two?
Well, I think on defense we've got to shore some things up and allow our players to play and execute and to play fast. So there's things without question we've discussed and are making corrections on that to get a better plan to make sure that happens on every play, that our guys know the call, everyone's playing the same call, and we can go play fast. On offense, I think we've got to just continue to find ways to create big plays, and when we get in some passing situations, we're going to have to protect a little bit better and be a little firmer, make sure we give the quarterback a little more time to make throws, and then we just got to be consistent playmakers and find ways to convert in critical situations, 3rd and short, 4th and short, and be smart with how we create that plan so that we find a way to get it done.
Jeff, do you have an injury update on Monroe Mills or anyone else that got banged up last game?
Well, you asked about Monroe, so he had an injury. It will knock him out. I anticipate him coming back at some point, but it will be him playing injured and his willingness to do that. So that we're still looking through a few things on that, but unfortunately that happened, and he'd been doing a good job for us. He'd been solid all year, so that was disappointing for him and for us. We'll see where that goes, and then if you have any other specifics, I'll ask. But we've got other injuries too. I'm not for sure which ones you're talking about.
When it comes to UVA, it seems like they've been a really, really strong team in the fourth quarter. You look back at that Boston College game last week. I think they had another one where they put up something like 14 points in the fourth quarter. What's it going to be like going up against a team that finishes the way they do? You're really focusing on making sure you guys can play a complete game yourselves.
Well, I think it's all relative. Last year we were able to finish on them when they played really well. This year, I think their experienced team, quarterback is playing well. They've settled on him. He's done a really good job. He can run and pass, so he gives them options, and his ability to escape the pocket gives them the ability to score at any time. I think their defense is solid, and at times they play really, really good. So I just think they're a good, solid football team that's gone through a couple seasons. Maybe they had a few tough losses that they learned from, and they're improved because of it. And that's kind of how it works. They're very competitive. They play hard, and they're well coached. But the quarterback play and the defense is their strength.
Quincy and Dez are pretty impactful players on defense for you. Do you have any updates on their status for the game?
Quincy, I think is just going to be all when he feels healthy enough to play. I do think at some point he'll be back. I just don't know when. Dez, unfortunately, got a lower extremity injured as well and wasn't able to move around very well this past week. I would call him doubtful for this week, but we'll see how he progresses.
You were unhappy with the defense on Saturday. Are you wanting the calls to get in quicker, or you want the defensive responses to be simpler, communicate better with the players on the field, or what in particular are you trying to improve there?
Well, I think the simplest way to define it is, when the ball snapped, we need to be lined up and all playing the same call, so that if we at least get beat, we get beat because the other team beat us. That is not taking place. There needs to be less checks, or in my opinion, 0 checks, so that when we get a call made, we're going to run it, and everyone knows what the call is, and certain things don't detour us from that. And then, yes, I think the calls need to get in much quicker, and we need to have a plan to make sure that happens. And then, worst case, if some team goes extremely fast and for whatever reason the call's not getting in, we have a set call that we play, and we're lined up to play until we get the call. So there's just some small things with that that we're going to make sure to get fixed, and we'll work hard this week to get that done, so that our guys can go out there and execute and just play fast.
I guess going off of that, Jeff, is that what you kind of attribute to, like you talked about the communication on Saturdays, the slower starts, and how do you, I guess, get that going a little faster and quicker, like you said, as soon as the game starts?
Well, it's probably a combination of a lot of things. I do think that is some of it. I do think as a defense, as players, we need to communicate and talk, just like if you're playing basketball and defense, you got to communicate and talk and be loud. So we got to be better at that. But in general, it's a hodgepodge of a few things here and there that all need to be cleaned up and shored up to make sure we get that done. And we all need to play better. We all need to coach better. So it just starts with me all the way down. The plan needs to be defined, and we know exactly what we're going to attempt to do, and then we need to be able to teach that plan and carry it out as efficiently as we can. And I just think, to win at a high level, everybody has to do their part well, or you're not going to win. So that means myself, that means our assistant coaches, that means our players, that means guys that just get in a little bit, they got to play well. That means whoever's number is called when someone gets injured has to step in and do well. So everything, has to perform at the optimal level in order to win, and we've got to be better at it.
Last couple of games, you've gotten behind right off the bat and had to play from behind most of the two games. Any thoughts or theories on why that's happening or what you can do about it?
Well, it's probably happening because of the things we've talked about. Yes, the best case scenario is getting a lead and being able to play with the lead, which allows you to try to be more efficient and selective on offense, and you can be a little more aggressive on defense. When that doesn't happen, you still got to be able to overcome it, which means we've got to be sharp on offense. We've got to be able to respond when other people score. We've got to be able to protect the ball, move the ball up the field, convert short yardage situations, and get the ball in the end zone in the red zone. And on defense, we've got to be able to regroup and get that done. But I just think that being able to play fast and efficient from play one to the end and being on the same page doing it will help us.
As you get ready for your second road game, how was the in-game communication with Tyler, with the helmet at Notre Dame, when it's it's louder when you're on offense? Do you have any issues with anything, any changes you'll make going into this? Well,
we did have a couple of situations late in the game when it got loud with that. We still need to use the signal system. We need to make sure that we're able to do both, and we need to be aware of when it does get loud, do we change from one to the other a little bit quicker than maybe we did in the past game. So that is all on the table and is being discussed and trying to map out so that we are ahead of the game, so when that happens we don't miss a play here, two or there because of communication. So the communication really in all three segments have to be spot on so that our players can go play and execute. So as coaches, we got to be really good at it.
Jeff, Ashton has only one tackle against SMU. I know you expect more out of him. Are they double teaming? Are they running away from him? What is it with that?
Well, there's a combination of a lot of things with that. I think that Ashton has played hard, and just because he hasn't gotten sacks, he's gotten pushed, he's gotten close to the quarterbacks, he's gotten hurries, he's gotten pressures. He just hasn't landed as much. So it's a combination of a lot of things. We got to make sure we put him in the best position. We got to make sure that the people around him are in the spots they're supposed to be. We got to make sure that we're using his strengths as much as possible. We got to make sure that we're not only speed rushing but bull rushing and using his strength to knock people back. And we got to be aggressive in our calls to make sure that we're able to overload the protection at times and not let them double team him. So it's a combination of all that. I do think that he's played hard and he's been efficient, and he's been productive for us. We just got to try to get more assistance to help him, dominate the way he knows he can.
In the SMU game, both Isaac Brown and Don Chaney had the same amount of rushing attempts, and for the season it's pretty similar. But to this point, it seems like Isaac Brown has been the much more effective runner. And with that being said, do you expect at some point that you're going to maybe continue giving Isaac more carries, or do you want to continue to kind of share the carries pretty evenly among the running back room?
No, we're very conscious of that as well. I think Isaac is a true freshman. We've tried to not throw too much at him at first. He's shown the capability of he plays hard. He doesn't miss practice. He has no fear. He makes catches. He makes hard catches. He makes plays that a normal freshman wouldn't at times. So, yes, he has been very productive for us. We need to make sure he gets plenty of touches. We still need all the other running backs to perform well and do their job. The more playmakers you have, the better your team will be. But yes, we are conscious that he is a guy that needs to get his touches.
Jeff, it seemed like the other day there was more missed tackles than maybe there have been. Is that a combination of what we've talked about a little bit? Does that factor in as far as, late scheme or late play call? And then with the running quarterback, has it been one thing each week, or is it a lot of little things that cause you guys to kind of struggle against that running quarterback?
The first question was what part? Oh, you know what? We're going to work hard at tackling this week. I agree with you. Now, yes, there's a lot that goes into that. Getting lined up, getting set, identifying what's going on, and having a couple seconds to do that because you have the call, and then just going and playing. Now, at the same time, taking the proper angle, using our arms and our shoulders and our body and our body position to see what we're tackling and to wrap up, continuing to fly around to the ball is very important. So we got to make sure to do that. The second question was what again? You know what? Unfortunately, we've had a couple calls where in blitz zero, the running quarterback has gotten out and went a long ways. So, with that said, everyone playing the exact call is first. Secondly, being a little more conscious of not being too aggressive in those situations to allow what could be a 5-yard run turn into 50. We've had a couple times in our blitz zeros where two guys have taken some part of that blitz instead of doing their responsibility, which means if we can't execute as well, we need to pull back on it. So there's just numerous things that we can do to help that. But yes, the quarterback running for yards, those yards are unacceptable, and we need to be better at that.
Jeff, last week you had mentioned that obviously some teams that maybe didn't get a lot of attention preseason are kind of the ones that are up there, Virginia being one of them, obviously 3-0, like you said, 2-0 in the conference. I guess what does that just say about maybe the parity or just the teams in the ACC right now, and how do you kind of use, obviously last week at SMU kind of having that hot start to kind of help with Virginia?
Well, I think even last year there was a lot of parity in the league. There's a lot of good, solid football teams. Even last year with our wins, there were a lot of games that we had to just pull out in the very end. And in order to pull out those wins, you've got to be sharp at all the things you're doing, which is coaching, is setting your guys up to have success, and then going out there and executing and playing to the end. And it has to be a constant thing. Every play of the game has to happen because the margin for error is so small. So we've got to be sharper there. I think we can coach better, need to coach better to get that done. And then I think we just need to continue to play hard and play to the end and improve on some of the things that need to get better at, which we've talked about, communicating and situational football and all those small things need to happen. And we've got to just be in the right spot, make plays when we're supposed to, and it has to be a constant thing throughout the game because the margin for error is very small. And to beat Virginia or any team on our schedule moving forward, we've got to be sharp in all those areas.
After a disappointing loss like the one you have Saturday, is your messaging to the team more demanding, more supportive, or encouraging? Do you get tougher?
Well, I think it's all based on what I feel happened in the game. I do think that you got to take ownership as coaches, and we got to talk to our players honestly and let them know that we need to be better as coaches, and we're going to get a better plan together and a better formula and a better way to practice that this week to get it done and change some things up. So that'll happen, and then it goes down to the players. There's some certain things we talked about that we got to get better at, we've addressed it to this point, and now we're going to work on it throughout the week. And every year is a little different. Every game's a little different. I get a good feel during the game and after what I sense, and then I watch the video and I get a better feel of what I sense as well as our other people, and then you have to not avoid it or blame it on something else. You have to blame it here if you ever want to get it fixed. Otherwise, it'll continue to happen. So that's what has to happen is we've got to do our part from the top to make sure we get it fixed. Okay.